I have a confession to make. I've been a plant-based eater for many years now and often use various winter squashes in my meals. I've also carved jack-o'-lanterns from pumpkins in the past, but I nearly almost always just toss away the seeds scooped out from them. I know, shocking, right? Sure, I've tried to use them, but somehow it never seemed worth the hassle to prep and clean them in order to eat them. Until now. The other day, I discovered an unbelievably easy way to get them into a delicious snackable state in half the time and effort. So what's the kitchen prep hack to enjoying these squash and pumpkin seeds and save money doing it? I'll show you in this episode, so listen in. Welcome to the Plant-Based Eating Made Easy podcast. I'm your host, Anna Zinn, plant-based registered dietitian and transition coach. Hi friend, do you want to regain your health with plant-based eating but feel overwhelmed and lost about how to do it? Do you feel it'll be hard to change your meat-heavy diet and impossible with working, running the home, or chasing after the grandkids? If so, you're in the right place. Here you'll find simple strategies, clear nutrition guidance, and practical tips to help you thrive plant-powered with more energy. So if you're ready to ditch the guesswork and transform your health the stress-free way, cozy up now with a hot cup of tea or listen while you walk, and let me show you how doable plant-based eating can be. Let's do this. Today, I want to spotlight a listener and thank her for her review. This listener's Apple ID is Chris Tip, and she wrote, "What a blessing for my family. Exactly what I need. My husband and I have different preferences around plant-based versus meat, so I'm very grateful to have someone making it simple for me to understand. Thank you, Anna." Thank you so much for your 5-star written review and support of this podcast, Chris. I'm so glad to hear that you're getting support through this podcast to help you in your plant-based diet journey, even though you and your husband may not be seeing eye to eye right now in terms of eating preferences. That's great too that you're feeling less overwhelmed and find the tips and strategies shared on this podcast easy and simple enough to understand and implement. Thank you for this feedback. It really helps to keep me going. Friend, would you like to support this podcast too? If so, all you need to do is to take a quick moment to leave a rating and written review on Apple Podcasts. If you have an Apple device, find the Apple Podcasts app icon. It's a purple square with white circles. Open it, then search for Plant-Based Eating Made Easy. Then, once there, scroll all the way down past the 5-star symbols, then click on Write a Review. Leave a star rating, write your review, and then tap Send. You can also leave a review if you have iTunes downloaded on your PC computer. I would love to know how this podcast is making a difference in your life, health or otherwise. And you may get your review spotlighted on an episode too, like this one. So please take a moment now or at the end of this episode to leave a review. And follow or subscribe to this podcast while you're at it, so you won't miss any new future episodes published. Now let's move into today's topic. When I say our family loves pumpkin seeds, I mean it. In fact, it's one of the key ingredients in my bowl of oatmeal that I enjoy most mornings. I love to put roasted pumpkin seeds on my salads, and we often sprinkle some as a topping onto pasta. It's often the first thing my daughter requests when asked what she'll like to snack on, and I've even made a pumpkin seed cashew blended nut butter before. We love them not just because pumpkin seeds taste so delicious, especially roasted, but also because I know just how nutrient-packed they are. Just 1 ounce or 28 grams of pumpkin seed kernels provides close to 8.5 grams of protein, 1.8 grams of fiber, 2.3 milligrams of iron, 156 milligrams of magnesium, and nearly 2.2 milligrams of zinc. It's also a source of many other nutrients such as selenium, manganese, potassium, phosphorus, the B vitamins, and vitamin K. So we regularly buy pumpkin seeds throughout the year, but pumpkin seeds are not cheap. In the United States, from stores like Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, and Harris Teeter, You can get raw or roasted shell pumpkin seeds anywhere from $9 to $12 a pound. And that's before tax. That's why I can't help but feel guilty whenever I have to toss the pumpkin or squash seeds away after carving out the squashes, so I can use the flesh in cooking. It seems like such a waste of nutrition and money. That's why I was so excited when I discovered this hack and knew I had to share it with you, my listeners. You see, it's not like I didn't try to salvage and use these carved out fresh pumpkin and squash seeds in the past. But each time I tried, I found it too time-consuming to wash off that sticky, slimy bright orange or yellow film covering the tangled mass of pumpkin or squash seeds I've scooped out with a spoon. I've tried all these different methods to clean them, including putting them into a colander and then repeatedly rinsing them off, or filling the colander with water, then trying to rub away the film from the seeds with my hands. But it all took so much time and effort to do. I remember my last failed attempt. I couldn't bear to throw away the raw ones, so I just had them sit in a bowl on the dining table and attempted to crack a few now and then. But they didn't open easily, so the bowl just sat there for a month until I finally threw the seeds away, again. And I felt so guilty about it because I knew how good these were for you and how packed in nutrition they were. So it seemed like I was throwing away money every time I threw the seeds away. But I really hated washing away the slimy, sticky film around the seeds, and it just seemed to take multiple washings, and that's definitely not water conserving. Yet, ironically, this is supposed to be the easiest way to clean them. If you go online to look for roasted squash or pumpkin seed recipes, most of the instructions will tell you to manually wash and remove the sticky film from the seeds. For example, there was this one recipe I saw for easy roasted Hubbard squash seeds. The instructions read, when you remove the seeds from the squash, they will be covered in a film that feels a bit slimy. The easiest way to get rid of it is to put the seeds in a fine mesh colander and rinse them under running water. Another recipe I saw online for roasted spaghetti squash seeds had these instructions. Cut the spaghetti squash open, and then with a spoon, scoop out the guts and seeds and place into a bowl. Separate the seeds from the guts by hand. Thoroughly rinse the seeds and make sure there's no squash left on them before roasting. See the similarity? In fact, I've yet to come across a recipe for roasted squash or pumpkin seeds telling any other way to clean them. So see why I gave up trying after a while? But I'm not going to waste these precious pumpkin or squash seeds now. Not after I discovered the easiest hack in the world for getting rid of that slimy, sticky film on the seeds. What is it? Follow along. I'm going to share now 3 super simple steps to take so you can start enjoying your own freshly roasted pumpkin or squash seeds. Here's the first step. Remove the seeds. Cut the washed squash or pumpkin in half. Then use a large spoon to scoop out the middle portion of the squash with the seeds enmeshed in a web of fibers. Step 2 is this. Set aside. Now here's the hack I want you to use. Remove most of the web of fibers away from the seeds, but don't worry or stress about having to wash them clean to remove the sticky, slimy film. In fact, don't wash them at all, but just set the seeds aside in a bowl on your countertop. Yes, that's the hack. You don't need to wash them at all. Just put them aside and forget about them for a few days. Literally. This is what I discovered the other day because I felt bad throwing the seeds away from the kabocha squash I had just cleaned out for a dinner recipe and didn't have the time to wash them repeatedly. So I just set them aside in the bowl and forgot about them for a few days. And as it turned out, that was the best thing I could have done. Because that's where the magic happens. When you then pick up a bunch of these pumpkin or squash seeds, you'll find that the outer sticky film has now dried to the point of being thin and flaky. It'll just crumble away and come off so easily from the seeds, with no extra work needed on your part. I was amazed the first time I experienced it. Now, if you live in a sunny, hot climate, that's even better. Put them in a sunny spot to dry out. You can even spread them onto a baking tray in a single layer if you want, to get them to dry out faster. I live in a dry, low humidity climate, so I find that within about 2 days, these fresh seeds are now dry on the outside. Now comes the fun part. Step 3. Roasting them. Preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 177 degrees Celsius. Line a baking tray with parchment paper and spread these pumpkin seeds in a single layer on it. Then bake the seeds for about 6 to 8 minutes in the oven before removing them and letting the seeds cool fully. Now you can eat and enjoy them. Feel free to just shell a few when you feel like it, or if you are feeling gung-ho, you can shell all the seeds at once so you can enjoy them more readily later. But honestly, I feel there is a reason nature designed more higher-calorie foods to be harder to get at. Think of nuts in a shell, or seeds in a shell, or coconut. But it makes sense. I don't think we as humans are meant to be eating such a huge quantity of these foods at once. But with modern manufacturing facilities and equipment, it has become the norm to have nut or seed butters, refined processed seed oils, and to buy bags of nuts and seeds with the shells already removed. But this all makes it harder for us to practice portion control and not overeat on these foods. So what I do is just put these home-roasted pumpkin seeds in a bowl on the countertop, and our family can just pick some up to shell manually when we feel we want a tiny pick-me-up snack. I remember the first time I did this, successfully baking them and eating them using this 3-step method. I felt so proud that I had harvested these seeds and made use of them instead of tossing them away. After I cooked the first batch this way, my 8-year-old daughter has already learned how to shell the roasted pumpkin seeds with her teeth to get at the kernels inside. So today we looked at a time, energy, and money-saving kitchen hack you can use to make the most out of those freshly carved out squash or pumpkin seeds. If you follow these 3 simple steps, you'll be able to save those seeds from getting tossed out unnecessarily and save precious grocery dollars as a result, too. This method should work well for any kind of squash or pumpkin seeds, such as those from pumpkins, kabocha squash, butternut squash, Hubbard squash, spaghetti squash, you name it. Now I'm going to leave you with an action step to take. Give this method a try the next time you find yourself with some fresh pumpkin or winter squash seeds on your hands. You might enjoy them as much as our family does. And here's an added bonus. Once these seeds are roasted, I find their shells pop and crack apart so much more easily than when in their raw form. So it's a double win in my books. If you enjoyed today's episode and want to learn more about the plant-based world and to build your confidence and knowledge in plant-based diet basics and key ingredients, check out the online Plant Power Life Transformation course. This self-paced 6-module online course teaches you key essential skills, produce stretching and money-saving hacks, practical lifestyle success strategies, and of course, tasty, simple-to-make whole food plant-based recipes. Through this course, I want to help you enjoy plant-based eating and save money, time, and energy while doing it. Find out more details at plantnourish.com/PPLT course or see the link in the show notes. Thank you for listening to the Plant-Based Eating Made Easy podcast. If this podcast has helped you, please rate and leave a written review on the Apple Podcast app or iTunes to let me know. Nothing will lift me up more than to read your review and see how this podcast has made a difference in your life. I also pick reviews to read on this show, so your review could be one of them. Come connect with me in my free Facebook community group, Beginners for Plant-Based Diet Success. Just go to bit.ly/PB Diet Success. That's bit.ly/PB Diet Success. You can also subscribe and follow this podcast to get notified when a new episode goes live. Signing off now, this is Anna, and I wish you the best health always.